It's that time of year where we get ready to welcome the next wave of members to the Saskatoon Blades family. The 2026 WHL Prospects Draft gets underway tonight with round one at 6 p.m. Saskatchewan time. Tanner Chubey, Saskatoon Blades Communications Manager, joined alongside by Director of Scouting for the Saskatoon Blades, Dan Tencer. Dan, first, let's just start off with, over the last 3 or 5 years, how is the approach to this draft, especially now with the U.S. priority draft not a thing anymore going into this year? How is, you and your staff's strategy and approach to the draft with the NCAA rule changes and all that sort of thing changed heading into this draft here today?
Really significantly. Yeah, it's a different world now than we used to live in, and I think that's it's a challenging thing and an exciting thing. We could sit here and we could dwell on the things that we're a little bit woeful about being different, but you know what? In every challenge, there's opportunity, and I think the one great thing about everything that's happened is there are great young players from all over North America now that want to play in the Western Hockey League when they're young. I think a lot of the players in the U.S. compare the leagues that they have down there, and when they look at the quality that we offer up here, the standards, the facilities, the amount of players that get drafted, now the amount of players that are getting Division I scholarships as well, there's no comparison. And that's exciting for us because the feedback that we've got from the U.S. players has been significant. Of course, that's not to downplay the quality of players that we have here in Canada, which remains as significant as it's ever been. And it opens up our player pool quite widely. So yeah, for sure, there might be some seasons and some areas where your team or your league gets a little bit younger, but the quality of that young talent is so exciting. So we definitely have to cast a wider net. We have to do a little bit more homework. But those are all good things because the more quality, exciting young players and families you can talk to, that's what we're here to do. That's why our staff loves to do it, and we're excited about the challenge of the way things are now, and think there's lots of opportunity in them.
Would you say you and your staff going into this, is there more of a stress on ceiling now going with the draft or certainty? Is there more, do you lean one way or the other when you go into the draft? Does it depend where you're picking, all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think strategically it certainly depends on any number of things, where your picks happen to fall, how many picks you have, what your birth years immediately adjacent to this one look like. So I don't know that you're able to build with the same projection of cycle that you were before, but you still have to try to combine some birth years and try to imagine what you think it's going to look like and build around that. I think there certainly is a need for certainty in some spots, but it's also very reasonable now to shoot for some ceiling too. So I think being open-minded and having an approach that can be, pliable as you go in and out of spots, and I think it's important. I think you can go through it and look to accomplish multiple different things with all of the draft choices that you have. And again, the available talent is so significant that it's not like you get 100 players deep in the draft and you throw your hands up. I mean, you're 100 players deep in the draft and you're looking at another great list of 100 players yet to come, right? So, I think you got to keep an open mind and attack it, sort of roughly the way that we did before with, maybe a little bit more willingness to shoot for some ceiling and take some risks at some point.
Obviously, without revealing too much strategy or what's being said exactly in the Blades
It's all being
room.
Decided in the room while I'm here right now, so I don't even know.
Well, that's all being talked about. Take people inside the war room in terms of how maybe you and your staff come to a decision, because I'm sure you can say this better than anyone, how much of a team effort this day is from a year's worth of hard work from all the scouts.
I think the important thing to note is that as much as we meet this week, and there's no question we put in significant hours this week, it's not like those conversations just started at 8 a.m. on Monday. Those conversations have been going on through the bulk of the year. It's very easy as a staff to identify at critical stages during the year. So I'm thinking after 2 or 3 major events at different landmarks through the season, it's very easy to identify where your friction points are. You know, if I'm sitting across and I know that I have a couple of guys who disagree with me on this player, or that we see this guy differently, or that I have a concern that maybe they don't, I know what those things are well in advance of this. We have many discussions well in advance of this. We do provincial individual meetings well in advance of this. So a lot of those things are discussed about previously. So we sort of are, I like to say, at the very high level of the discussions here. A lot of the stuff that needs to be ironed out has been done already. So a lot of it is very narrowly focused. It's extremely important, especially with the first couple of picks, to go in knowing exactly where and why you value a player. So we spend a ton of time on that, and you sit in the room, and I'm sure a lot of times it's like you're debating between a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, right? Like we need to reach a conclusion for one reason or another why we prefer X or Y, and we go down the list that way. And then some of it is slightly strategic in terms of what we think we might be able to accomplish with the next pick or the pick after that. So yeah, it's very collaborative and very, I would say, very narrowly focused for the most part on, you know, some core areas where we, you know, have identified that there's some very important decisions to make that we need to spend time on.
One of the biggest topics in the war room right now, and I gotta ask you it, do you love peppers?
I love peppers. Yeah, I love peppers. We got a lot of love for peppers in the room right now. Yeah, it's you know, and just to expand on that, in case anybody's wondering, we do a player questionnaire, and we're always so fascinated by the answers we get back and how the young men approach them. And one of the questions is, tell me something about yourself that somebody wouldn't know. And guys attack these questions in very, very different ways, and you get a sense of the players' personalities as you go through them. And yeah, that was one that made us chuckle last night, because 2 guys sitting down, I was like, yeah, I love peppers too. I see where he's coming from on that. So yeah, I'm not sure. I have to, if we draft that player after, I'll have to ask him, like, was he biting into one at the time or what? But yeah, the love for peppers.
This is always a fun week. The staff and all the scouts.
That's the best part of it.
Together.
Truly, it's the best part of it. Having all the guys here and going out for meals and discussing and debating, and yeah, I just think that's the cool part of all this, getting together and sort of spending time together as a group after you do the work all year. It's still by far the best part of this process for me.
Well, Dan, enjoy the week. Enjoy tonight, round 1. The Saskatoon Blades picking 18th overall in round number 1 tonight. You can watch free on Victory Plus TV. Coverage starts at 5:30 p.m. The draft begins at 6 p.m. Make sure you tune in, victoryplus.com. Dan, thanks so much for taking the time to do this.
You bet, Chubey. Thanks, buddy.